morning, Kyle Gibbons, Operations, giving you an update for July 30th on the Battle Mountain Zone 1 fire. So Battle Mountain Complex, Zone 1 is the west side of the fire. So the zone line's right about here, and then we're, Oregon Department of Forestry Team 1 is working on Zone 1 of this incident. The entire incident's just under 180,000 acres, and so Zone 1 will focus on Division Zulu for the time being. So as we look at the map here, Division Zulu, we notice it's kind of a funny shape, and then there's several dozer lines. These hash marks are where we put in dozer lines, and then some of them are actually inside the fire now, so they're in the black, as we would call it. And so is what was happening here. There's several values at risk: homes in this area, private lands, and cattle. You know, there's all kinds of values at risk in there. Historical monuments. So we were trying to cut that fire off in the smallest footprint as we could, and then due to some of the weather, the terrain, and the fuel type, we pick up fire runs that was kept wanting to go to the south towards the highway here. So we're around it now. We feel confident we'll be able to hold it in that same footprint. We're still putting in a little bit of direct line, so either with dozers or hand line, but we don't anticipate any real problems, especially as things dry out. We'll focus on basically heavy mop up. So we'll be start on the perimeter of the fire, and then you just work your way around, digging out hot spots, flowing water, and just ensuring that perimeter will hold fire. And then also focusing on areas of unburned islands, so they can't pick up and cause you issues, loft embers over the fire line. So, but that's why we have some of this that has an interesting shape on the fire line, is because we'd stop it, and then it might come out a different direction, and then it kept wanting to burn to the south. So several attempts in here, and there was areas where we had check lines, control lines in, and then the fire was able to spot across those lines, and then it continued to want to burn to the south. So in a fairly good spot for Division Zulu. Feel confident that we can kind of hold it in the same footprint. But it definitely pushed for several days, and this was an extremely stubborn portion of the fire, as it kind of came out of some Forest Service higher ground and then down into the valley, Cover Creek drainage, Ant Hill area. And then working to the north, Division Alpha, we just continue to mop up and hold that perimeter. And then as we get into Division Foxtrot, with the moisture and the humidities that came up in the last day, we're going to continue to burn across here, so that's been put on hold. And then there's some pretty steep canyons, fairly rugged access, so we'll wait a day or two and then assess this situation. And we have a unmanned aircraft that'll help in crossing Ditch Creek, so we can utilize that for infrared capabilities, and then also for helping the light when we decide to cross that drainage, and utilize that as adding some fire there, being able to pull some of that fire in and keeping our lines straight, so it's more of a planned event and not as much as an uncontrolled fire on the landscape. And then moving down to Division Whiskey, continue to just patrol and mop up along here, and try to just make sure we have access into the structures that were saved in this area. So crews will be kind of working around those structures, ensuring the perimeter, and making sure we maintain some safety around those. And then working back to Monument, continue to hold and improve that line. So things are looking pretty good. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Perkins, Operations Section Chief here on the Battle Mountain Complex. Today's going to be another good day. Mother Nature has dealt us a nice forecast for for firefighting anyway, as far as putting out fire and getting things mopped up. So we're going to take advantage of that. It's, we roughly got about 1/4 of an inch, anywhere from 1/1500ths to 1/4 of an inch around the entire fire. That is very, very helpful. We'll take advantage of that, making sure that most of, if not all of our lines are in place. We have one spot up there in the Potamus Creek drainage where they're still putting in new primary line, but they'll get that in today with any luck, and it'll allow us to mop things up even deeper, take advantage of the higher humidities, and open up some of those larger fuels, the logs and stump holes and stuff like that take a long time to mop up. We'll open those things up today and take advantage of that higher humidity. We won't have to spray so much water because Mother Nature's providing that for us. But just walking around the entire map, starting up here in Division Hotel, they're still working on that Potamus Creek drainage, figuring out how to get through there. They'll work, and they've got a good plan, and they've already enacted most of it, but they'll get around, get some lines tight along the rim tops, and that way when that fire does come up out of Potamus, they're able to stop it up there on the flats. As we come around, heading back to the east, they're just getting in tighter and mopping in deeper and deeper. On most areas in the lighter fuels, we expect to be mopped in at least 100, 150 feet. In the larger fuels where it's timbered, we'll have to mop in up 300 feet, and if it's steep, maybe even a little bit more, to ensure that when it does get warmer and drier and Mother Nature throws a different test at us or a different forecast, that we have enough of the perimeter of the fire mopped up that the fire stays put. Anyway, things are looking good on Highway 395 today. We'll reassess snag hazards or hazard trees along the highway and work with ODOT to ensure that we get all those taken down and get that hazard eliminated. And coming around the southeast corner, heading back towards the west, again, just working mopping in a little bit deeper. I've said this for a number of days, but we do have structures over here in Quebec and Sierra, so along the southern, southeast and southern pieces of the fire line, we actually have structures along almost that entire southern section. So they'll mop in around those structures, just keep working farther and farther away from them, try to get everything mopped up so there aren't any smokes or any heat left, and then mop in deeper in the rest of the division, and hopefully we'll take it, like I said earlier, we'll take advantage of today's higher humidities and cooler temperatures and get as much depth on our perimeter as we can. Have a good day.